Thank you so much. Melissa, sometimes I try that power pose with my kids. Never works out. Never works out. I'm really excited to be here today. And Peter, did you leave this guitar for me? Listen, my wife really thinks that musicians are really sexy. So can I take this guitar and send a picture with it later to her? You mind? Amazing. What a nice guy. And you know what? I'm so honored and happy to be here today. Speaker Spotlight, Martin, Farah, the entire team. This is the greatest family that I've ever been a part of. And round of applause for these guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about disruption and innovation. This is what I'm passionate about. This is all I read, write, work, and speak on. This is what I've dedicated my entire life to. And I don't even need to tell you this, but the world is changing very quickly. And I'm not talking about the coronavirus. I'm talking about technology and business. And what it requires us to do is actually have not only a new mindset, but a new DNA. And what I want to do today is rewire your organizational DNA to not only be immune to disruption, but to also think and execute like a disruptor as well. And this is not going to be easy because it's going to require us to smash old narratives that we've been carrying on for years, decades, and even centuries. And I'm going to start with the first one that I hear all the time from leaders, which is around workforce and talent. And the narrative that I hear all the time is that we don't have the skills needed for the future. Our talent is not ready for the future. And I would argue, yes, we do. This question around workforce and talent is near and dear to my heart for a couple different reasons. My wife and I, this is what we talk about all the time as well. Like, what are our kids going to do in the future? What skills will be relevant for them in the future? I got two kids. I got a 3-year-old named Maya, and I got a 10-month-old named Dion. And that's them. And you know what? This conversation on workforce skills was not relevant in my household. We never talked about any of this. In fact, I was supposed to have a very linear path. I remember I was at the dinner table with my family a number of months ago, and we were talking about our dreams growing up. Like, what were our dream careers growing up? And first I asked my brother, I said, what was your dream growing up? And he said, my dream was that I want to be a doctor. And he actually became a doctor. Good for him. And then I asked my mother, immigrated here from India. She said, my dream was for my children to become doctors. And I said, does that mean I'm a disappointment? She said, yes, absolutely. And she continued on. She said, now I have a new dream. My new dream, Shawn, is for your children to become doctors. This is an epidemic, by the way, in the East Indian community. But sometimes I get worried about this idea of jobs of the future, but then I have to remind myself that the jobs and the industries of the future have not been created yet. And I know this because if I look at the last 15 years, these jobs didn't exist 15 years ago. An agricultural drone pilot, a data scientist, an Uber driver, a cloud architect, a chief ethical and humane use officer, a chief diversity and inclusion officer. These jobs didn't exist 15 years ago, but they exist today. So the question is, if we can't predict which jobs or industries will be relevant in the future, how do we predict which skills will be relevant in the future? And a lot of people ask me, what are the digital, emerging technology skills that we need for our talent? Let me give you a glimpse of them. They're these things. Things like imagination and creativity and empathy, intuition, communication, emotional intelligence. As technology removes some of the transactional and routine work, the individuals and the organizations that double down on these things and invest in these things will be the ones that will win in the future. And part of the reason why this is the case is because of another narrative that we've been spinning for centuries, which is that technology will take away our jobs. Technology will take away our jobs. And I'm finally here to tell you that yes, it will, and hopefully more. Let me explain. The hype right now when it comes to this is really around artificial intelligence and machine learning. You can't go through a business article or journal without hearing about this thing. And I know a little bit about this because I'm from Alberta, and we are third best in the world because when it comes to AI research. I have a number of machine learning guys on my team. This is what we're doing and dreaming around algorithms and data. And the hype right now is really around this one question, which is, will robots take my job? Will robots take my job? In fact, if you want to know if a robot will take your job, there's a really great site. It's called willrobotstakemyjob.com. And I recommend everybody to go on it. Not now, but I recommend everybody to go on it. I actually went on it last night to see how some people in this room would do. So the first thing that I did was I put in event meeting planners to see how they would do. 4%. Totally safe. Congratulations. Then I put in sound engineers. I saw some in the back, and they were 13%. Guys, congratulations as well, no worries. And then I put a really random job in, like accounting, to see how they would do, and they were 94% and completely doomed. Any accountants here today, by the way? One? I'm sorry. That's too bad. No, but I think this is the conversation that we need to have. We need to separate this idea of tasks and jobs. If your job is to enter something into an Excel document, then yes, your job should be eliminated. Right? It will be eliminated. But listen, most jobs have more complexity. It requires intuition and communication and emotional intelligence and all the things that I talked about. In fact, I think artificial intelligence is going to be a beautiful thing for every job, even accountant, any job that you think will get automated. Because what it's going to help us do is remove the things that we don't want to do at work so that we can actually double down on the things that matter, like our employees and our customers and our clients. I think this is going to be a magical thing. It's going to actually make work more human. But I'm not worried about technologies taking away our jobs or AI taking away our jobs. What I am worried about when it comes to artificial intelligence is that it actually might make us dumber. This is what I'm worried about. It might make us less creative and less innovative if we rely on it. I know it's already making us more entitled, and I know this because there's a really great tweet from Pepto-Abysmal. He's like, I keep saying Alexa when I mean to say Siri, and I just can't believe I live in a time where I'm getting my servant robots' names mixed up. We're getting a little entitled here. A little bit. But this is the reason why I think AI is a little bit dangerous, because let me give you a little bit of background. The lifeblood to artificial intelligence is data. And data is amazing. We have taught leaders and organizations that data is God. Don't mistrust the data. Data is God. Jesus, Allah, Buddha, data. I'm Hindu, and somebody told me very early on that our God was math. That explains a lot of things. But this is what we have trained leaders to think about. And data is amazing. Data is really about squeezing more juice, becoming more efficient. And machine learning is going to be the greatest tool for efficiency ever created. It's going to reduce manual processes. It's going to automate the back office. It's going to be fantastic. But machine learning optimizes the past. It's using past data. But innovation is about uncovering secrets, unlocking insights about human behavior. It's actually about creating the future. And I really believe that we need to use artificial intelligence how it should be used. It should be used as a base platform technology that will power every single organization. It will be like electricity. And the beauty of AI is if we can actually use it as a base platform technology, we can actually innovate on top of it. And this is why I believe that the next great companies will not be AI companies, but will be really innovative and creative companies using AI in the background. Now, there's another narrative that is near and dear to my heart because a lot of my innovation work was also in the public sector and helping organizations grow. And here's something that I heard all the time, which is we are being asked to do more with less. More with less. Now, this might sound like a bit of a blasphemous statement, but I'm going to tell you today that finally we can do way more with way less. Traditionally within organizations, if we want to innovate, we have two options. Either we build something internally or we buy something. Well, today, firms are realizing that they can let others innovate with their core competencies, so they can double down on what they're good at and leverage them where they need to. Traditionally within organizations, if we want to get work done, we would walk in the office and we would say, who is available to do this work and when can I get this done? And usually those people were on our payroll. We call those people employees. But today, leveraging third parties is not only becoming a lot easier because of digital, but the scope is ever expanding. There's so many ways to partner with amazing companies and startups and competitors and freelancers and micro workers, people that will do jobs for less than $5, and even influencers. This is a job now. I talk to so many young kids today, and their dream growing up is they want to be an influencer. And not any kind of influencer. I don't know if you've heard of this. This is called a TikTok influencer. You guys know what this is? Some people don't know what I'm talking. You don't even have to be young to be a TikTok influencer. You can be old as well. If you don't know what a TikTok is, this is a TikTok.
Hey, Pop.
What, Bab?
Would you rather A, spend the rest of your life with your wife, or B?
B.
That's a TikTok. And listen, I was looking in this guy's face. He was serious, by the way. Papa Joe was serious. But organizations have figured this out, that we can leverage others and use their core competencies, and we can focus on what we're really good at. This is why you have companies like Kylie Jenner's Kylie Cosmetics putting a dent in the beauty industry, building a $1 billion company with 7 employees, partnering with another beauty company that's doing all the product, partnering with Shopify to do all the e-commerce, so she can just double down on what she is good at, which is using branding and social media in novel ways. This is why you see a country like Singapore, where they're like, we want to achieve better health outcomes for our citizens, but we don't want to do this ourselves. Why don't we partner with an innovative company like Fitbit and give every Singaporean a Fitbit so that they can get healthier and they can get less sick and we can have less people in the hospitals? This is what the banks have all figured out as well. This is why they're partnering with all these fintech startups, because they have a notion that we're not as agile and flexible, as nimble as these fintechs, but they also have what we don't have, which is like amazing technology, and they're looking for what the banks have, which is distribution. So all these organizations are really developing this ecosystem mindset. And one of the things that I really loved from Robin's talk was this idea that I can do hard things. And this is the narrative that I hear all the time as well, that I can do hard things. But sometimes transformation is hard. And sometimes that actually stops us from really innovating. And I really believe in the approach of experimentation, which is starting with small teams and small sprints and small problems and seeing how we can move the needle. To me, building a disruption DNA is built by starting to do the possible. And then eventually you will start doing the impossible. I have seen this work. I remember I was working with a company called NAL Resources. And before I was working with them, we were trying to pitch this idea to them around using automation within their organization. I remember going up to the boardroom of this energy company and the CFO asking me, how many organizations in my industry are using this type of automation software? And I said, nobody. And he basically said, get the hell out of my office. And this is energy. They want to know who else is doing something and who's doing something innovative, and they'll be the second mover on it. That's energy. And so what we were able to do is convince him on a very small experiment with a very small team using this software. And what we were able to show the executives is that we got a 20x improvement on the humans that were working there. And because of that one experiment, they opened up a digital center of excellence. Because of that one experiment, now they're known in the province for their digital transformation efforts. And because of that one experiment, now they're into artificial intelligence and blockchain, literally starting with the possible and then doing the impossible. I have seen this work. Another example, and I love this, and just to give you a little bit of context, my friends and I, we love doing like these eating competitions. Like we have a hot dog eating competition. We just did a hot sauce eating competition this summer. I don't recommend any of these things. But part of the reason why I love it is because in 2001, I was really inspired by this guy. His name is Kobayashi. I don't know how many people in this room are familiar with the Nathan's hot dog eating contest in Coney Island? Okay, this is disturbing, slightly. Well, let me tell you, in 2001, the record for eating hot dogs was 25 hot dogs. And this competition had been going on for 40 years. And in 2001, a really skinny Japanese guy named Kobayashi, 23 years old, comes up to the table, and after the 12 minutes was done, he had eaten 50 hot dogs. Like completely obliterating the competition. How did he do the impossible? Well, first he reframed the question. Most people, when they would eat hot dogs, the question is, how do I eat more hot dogs? That's the question. His question was, how do I eat a hot dog more easily? And so he did all these small experiments. The first thing that he did is he cut the wiener into two, and he put that in his mouth. That seemed to work. And then what he did was he dipped the bun in water, made it moist, put that in his mouth. That seemed to work. And then he did a little wiggle. I'm not sure what that did, but that helped as well. All these little experiments that he combined helped him disrupt the hot dog eating competition in Coney Island. Starting with the possible will make you do the impossible. Now, we talked about a couple things today, and my epiphany is really this. All the tools and technologies that we ever needed, including artificial intelligence, is out there. All the knowledge that we ever wanted is commoditized. And all the talent and partners that we ever needed is now ubiquitous. And by the way, the aggregate of all of human history and knowledge and creativity and ecosystem partners actually sits in our pocket. These things are no longer differentiators. I really believe the thing that will differentiate organizations and leaders in the future is their ability to smash old narratives to create the future. And this is so important. You know, the world is moving so quickly. It's moving so quickly that sometimes we don't even know how quickly it's moving. And to just give you a last story of how the world is moving very quickly and how we don't even expect it or understand it. I was in Toronto a number of months ago. Again, I'm actually from Edmonton, Melissa, by the way. Anybody from Edmonton? Okay, one person. Hello. Hey, John. Thanks for coming. No, I'm joking. I was in Toronto a number of months ago, and a really nice woman picked me up on Uber. Her name was Jacqueline. She had a 4.99 rating. That's actually very good. And her day job was a makeup artist. This was her day job. And I remember she was driving me, and she was complaining to me that now there's all these girls that are making money putting up makeup tutorials on YouTube, and now there's all these girls making money doing freelance makeup, and they're doing all of this without a cosmetology license. I said, that's crazy. I said, there's also all these random people picking up random people from the street without a taxi license. She did not like that at all. She kind of gave me that Papa John look that I was talking, Papa Joe look that I was talking about before, which is not there anymore. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I just want to say one thing. There's amazing speakers on this roster, and you're seeing a glimpse of them today. But really, the engine in the background is the the team at Speaker Spotlight. They not only do so much for the speakers, but they do so much for their clients. And it's the best family that I've ever been a part of. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks.